Greetings, Earthlings. It's your buddy C. Hello, guys. And I'm talking to you from the studios of WFC3. It is time for your weekly Monkey Business. As always, with me in the studios, the legendary Billy DeTore.
Hello.
The equally legendary Tanya Metris.
Hi.
The not nearly as legendary, but still pretty not high up on the list, Tony Bacchetta.
I'm back.
He's back. The building her legend, Dolly.
Hi.
Hello, Dolly Marie.
Hello.
Good to see you, dear. And then our very own, as we've said on several occasions, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, Zach and Rob are in the house.
Mazel tov. It's a boy.
Hanging out with us in the far back as he's catching up on her lunch is the lovely, vivacious Terry Sinopley from Arlene's Costumes. And we are going to be talking about a wide variety of things today in terms of memories on the corner of my mind. Anyway, the 1993 film classic Groundhog Day found Bill Murray repeating the same day over and over and over again. In celebration of this, Billy had suggested that we should talk about our own personal Groundhog Days, the days that we would love to relive, either because they were really good or because something happened and we would want to try and find ways to fix them to make them better. Did I get the gist of that?
You did. In fact, before you got here, we were discussing not the exact things we'd want to relive, but just the topic in general.
Okay.
And people's various interpretations of what theirs would be was interesting.
Oh, I'm sure, because when you have so many different personalities in the room, we're all going to look at it slightly
Some
differently.
people want a day that they would change. Some people may have something that they want to relive over and over again.
Yeah.
Is there something you want to relive over and over again and then want to change because you get sick of it? Would you want to realize that you're reliving it over and over again? Or would you just want to be oblivious and relive the same day over and over
I think
again?
I'd want to know, just to answer that particular question. I would want to know, because if it's something that I wanted to be a part of it, I wanted to know that I was in the cycle, and if I had an opportunity to change things and tweak things or do something slightly different, then I would have that luxury to be able to do that. Did you have a day in mind? Because I know you've been kind of thinking about this one for a little bit. Do you personally have a day in mind, Billy?
Well, there's always a few, and my version is a day that I do want to happen over and over again because it was so enjoyable, or
Let me guess. It was the
or
day
just
you
has
married
memories.
Susan.
Well, that's one. Okay. The other day.
The other one.
The other
day, I met a bear. What?
Well,
A great big bear.
Oh, way out there.
Whoops. Trying to keep these to 40 minutes. Come on.
Sorry.
there is actually a couple. One is a particular vacation. I just got back from a vacation. It was excellent. But there was one in New York City that we took a few years ago. That was actually a few days, so that wouldn't count because I wouldn't get to relive a few days over. So there was a Christmas Eve many, many years ago. Just the whole family together. Both my parents still alive. My one of my brothers before he moved to Arizona. And just a whole just collection of people in my house enjoying each other's company, having fun. And it's just, I can still picture the photographs that were taken that night, and just being able to hang out with some friends from high school that came over and hung out with us at night that I haven't seen in years. And that's just always a fond memory. My parents' house on Christmas Eve. We had it every year, but there was a particular one where it just seemed like everybody I'd ever known was there.
The planets are in alignment.
Yeah,
And it's just that perfect
and everything
evening.
worked out.
That's awesome.
So
Those are
that's
good
the
days.
one. Yeah.
That's cool. How about you, Tanya?
I was thinking about this, and I don't really think that there's any day in particular that I would want to relive. I mean, there seems to be days that I relive anyway, only because it's the same thing in one day and
When
out
you have
the next.
teenagers at home.
I have teenagers at home. I have teenagers at
same
work.
shit,
so
different day.
Yeah, so I don't know if there's anything that really, really jumps out saying, oh, it was horrible that I would go back and relive it to do something different, or it was so spectacular that I want to relive it over and over and over again. I'm just like, I seem to do that anyway when you have that sense of deja vu that this feeling or this thing has happened before. And I think that's what hits me more often than trying to relive a day. Because I think that there's some things that I actually do relive, or I've seen it or heard it, or something's happened in the past or the future, and then all of a sudden it happens again. I'm like, I think I just did this type thing.
The
So
day you met the Red Ranger.
Oh my God, that was like the best day ever.
See?
Austin St. John.
Oh no, it was us running into each other and then him picking me up and like carrying me into the green room. That was I could relive that moment over and over again. That one I would give you. Thank you, Billy, for letting me know that. Now, if I met Jared Padalecki, that would be another day.
The 6'5" puppy.
Yes. That's just in the background going like this.
Waving his hands in the air.
Oh, that's kind of like you going down through the
hallways?
The hallways at the Grease Ridge Mall.
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Relic the Clown is beating on some girl with his
like
freaking
this.
baseball bat, and I'm just walking by like, there's nothing to see here. It's just another day at the office. How about you, Tony? You don't have as many days under your belt as we do.
I've only been an actual person for about 3 years now.
Wow, were you a wooden boy carved by Geppetto?
Yeah.
I'm a real boy now.
Yeah, I was.
He's out of high school now, so now he's like...
Yeah. And looking back at... I wasn't an actual person in high school.
Oh, stop it. Don't get all existential and crap. Just tell me about it today.
Yeah, it's one of those days.
Let me think.
Okay, Rosencrantz and Gilbertstein are losing it over there.
That was perfect.
I don't...
Let me think.
See how much love there is in the room, Terry? Seriously, there's a ton of love in the room here. We always enjoy each other's company. Sure we do.
Yeah, I can't think of one.
Can't think of one? Well,
He did enough stalling, so he's
Yeah,
like,
he stalled, so that's
maybe I'll
it. No,
stall
that's
some more.
it.
It's better to ask me, would you like my best day tomorrow or my worst day tomorrow? To which I would answer my worst day tomorrow, just to get it out of the way.
I see.
Oh.
And then get a chance to relive it, so you can tweak it a little bit.
Yeah, and then I could.
Make it really bad.
Then I would say, yeah, I'd like to tweak.
What
this
did you
day.
learn from it, and how could you change it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm doing the whole going down the table trick, and she's looking at me. She's like, "Oh God, you're."
She's
coming
like,
to
why
me.
did I sit down
Why
now?
did I sit down now? I should have been eating my baked potato a little bit longer here. Terry Sinopoli of Arlene's Costumes Marketing Goddess. Tell me about a day you'd love to relive. Or not like to relive, so you could fix it.
This could go both.
This could go both ways.
I remember a certain vacation many, many years ago. We got flanked by 2 hurricanes in Florida. And so we were wandering around Disney.
Yeah.
And, Chris was on this vacation.
I was on that vacation. Yeah, we were there.
And I do. I think about this a lot because it was one where, well, it could have been hotter and it could have been nicer and it could have been a million different things. We made the most out of it.
Right.
And we had a lot of fun doing it.
Yes, we did. Hey, you in the yellow.
Quack, quack, waddle, waddle, quack, quack, waddle,
Whenever
waddle,
it would
quack,
rain
quack,
at
waddle,
Disney
waddle.
World, they would hand out the Mickey Mouse ponchos and make them readily available for cheap for people. So all of a sudden, when the raindrops would start falling, all of Disney World would become a sea of yellow ponchos. So our friend Molly would start yelling out, "Hey, you in the yellow," and see how many people she could get to turn around. Yeah.
And while everyone else was running from Epcot or various other
We were
parks,
just trudging right through it like we didn't give
were
a damn.
just going because
Yep.
we had to be there and we had already paid for it and we might as well enjoy it.
And we did. We were on rides in our ponchos. Having
So
a good old time.
how would you change it if you could? I mean, you can't change the
can't
weather.
really change the weather. No, unfortunately, it
Would you go
happened.
Would you go to Euro Disney?
Oh, that could have been fun.
That would have been entertaining.
Or maybe just a different time of year, I guess, could have been a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
We, of course, went in the middle of hurricane season, so I guess that was kind of our own fault.
Terry, just think of it, though. If we were there and we were Groundhog Daying that particular day, then we could have lunch in England. But then the next time we could have lunch in Tokyo, and then we could
there
have
you
lunch in
go.
Mexico, and then we could see. I'm having a lunch theme going on here at the
Well,
moment.
Are you hungry?
We did have
A little bit.
We did have a beer in Great Britain.
We
so-
did have a beer in Great
so
Britain.
that was okay.
And then it was dinner in Germany, wasn't it? I
Yes,
think
it
was
was.
that day. So yeah, okay. So you would relive the Disney trip.
Just go through the entire menu at Disneyland.
Yeah.
At Disney World.
In a day.
In a day.
It was just a very long day.
Oh, you'd be
That's
ill,
awesome.
But it would be good.
Yeah, I mean, we were down there with our Dan, our fearless leader, our friend Molly, and a couple of others from my gaming history. And yeah, sure enough, as soon as we got settled in Orlando and Kissimmee, the rain started because there was a small hurricane in the Gulf, and then when that faded, there was the hurricane off the Atlantic coast. So we had one on either side of us. And it's just like only us could plan a vacation to be flanked by 2 hurricanes.
And that was one of the times that Disney didn't close.
That is one of the times Disney didn't close. We can attest to that because we were still there.
Yes.
So, Dolly. Hello, Dolly. Well, hello, Dolly. Tell me about the day you would relive.
See, I am a classic overthinker.
Oh, awesome. You too, huh?
So
That's why we get along so well.
I've been like racking my brain about this
For like
the past
weeks.
months.
Yeah, seriously.
Because this has been on the schedule for a while.
I've been doing.
Yeah.
I've been doing the same.
No, it's bad. Like, it's really bad. I've been like asking people and just sitting there like just staring off into space.
So shoot from the hip. Tell me the first thing off the top of your head.
My thing was the different parameters of it. Like,
Oh God. You're good at overthinking.
I overthought.
You take your overthinking seriously.
I overthought the crap out of this. So if it was like in the past and it was like a bad day that I would have to relive, I wouldn't want to do that because I don't want to flashpoint it. Because then, like, say, like,
Nice.
Nice segue.
so, like, you wake up in the present and it's like, oh no, I changed something, and now
I know what I'm wearing for
my
Halloween
life
now.
might be completely different.
You could be
So-
Flash.
I'm gonna be reverse Flash. I want to be the guy who causes it all.
So,
Can you
like,
run backwards?
You mean you
Yeah.
know already?
so I started thinking about that. That was a no-go. So it was really hard, and like a good day, maybe Colin Baker singing "Hello Dolly" to me would be
That
really,
that was a
really
fun
good day.
moment. That was
That was a
definitely a
great
fun moment.
day. Like Colin Baker.
If I could relive that day, I promise I would do the harmonies better. You know.
I might have worn a different outfit, but anyway. Other than that, I mean that was a great day.
Uh-huh.
If
I
could-
know, and he wanted you all weekend.
I know.
Yeah. Oh
like,
yeah.
It's like a life goal right there, just checked off. I am the doctor's companion, and
Yes.
no one can tell me any different.
There you
No,
go.
because we went to change it the next day, and he's like, no.
Where's my dolly? That was what Colin Baker's
Where's my
actual
dolly?
quote was. Where's my dolly?
My dolly? And I'm like,
Okay.
that's so awesome. But if I could relive like a time period, it'd be my actual internship at Disney World,
Okay.
because those 5 months were like the best of my life.
So you'd Groundhog Day a whole like 5-month sequence of time.
Yeah, if
And
I
then
could
just
like
relive
just
it.
relive that like time period in my life, I would totally do it.
What do you think, Billy? Judges, does that
I'll
qualify?
go for it just because it fits in with the Disney theme. So
There we
far,
go.
we've had 2 Disney memories.
There we
and I
go.
like
Okay,
that.
very cool. So
And
the
as
judges-
long as you went back to me, I want to clarify something.
Go for it.
Susan or Tanya mentioned the day I married Susan. I realized why I wouldn't want to relive that day over again.
Because it was perfect the first time.
Well, that yes, but for those of you that don't know, I work at a radio station, and that
Really?
particular day, that particular show was a 24-hour show for charity.
Oh wow! Yeah,
I
that's
got
right.
married in the middle of that show
Yep.
from like 5 to 6 or 6 to 7. So that 1 hour
I was
I'd
at your
redo
wedding,
over
Billy.
again. Were you watching on
I was
the
listening
camera
in on the-
or
on the-
listening on the radio?
Yeah.
Whereas, but once the wedding was over, Susan went to dinner with my family, and I stayed here to work for another 12 hours.
Oh, that is tough.
So
That is tough.
I didn't get to go
So
home
you would
for-
relive it and say, go back and spend the rest of the day with Susan. Say, heck with you guys. I'm
yeah,
leaving
except
for the
it was
rest of the
it
day.
was the charity show before our Christmas break. I was going to be
right, that's a
off
big one.
for another week and a half, and so but
I can
I don't
see it.
I don't want to work for 24 hours. In fact, I still remember at one point around 1 or 2 in the morning just snapping because there was about 30 people in the studio just irritating me, and things were out of control, and I was very cranky at that point and just unhappy. So from say
So-
5 to 6 or 6 to 7, yes. The 12 hours after that, no, I don't think so. So there. Now I'm sorry to interrupt everybody else's, but
That's okay.
I had to think about that.
You had to think about that?
Yes,
Okay.
and I had to share that. And now back to
Now back to dead air.
Moving on
Yeah.
to Zach.
All right, well, I'm going to need clarification from our glorious overlord.
Okay,
Sherry's
would be-
Sherry is actually at Uticon right now. She's
That
not
would be
online.
Billy today.
I'm not a cloud.
As in the movie,
Uh-huh.
he lived the same day over and over again multiple times. How many times would we get? And would
Until you
know?
got it right.
But but what if it was a perfect day?
See,
what
the
would
the
be
way
to
I
get it right?
proposed it was forever, but that may be a little
I think I
extreme.
get tired after 3.
That's why I also threw out the "Would you want to know?" If you didn't want to know,
Uh-huh.
then you could just do that forever.
Well, and see, then I ran into problems because if you didn't know, how would
Then
you
you
know
fall
to change
into
something?
Twilight Zone.
Yeah, but if you did know, you keep changing something to try to get the best possible.
Then it hits Dolly's flashpoint.
Right.
Okay, once you hit the absolute perfect version and you don't think you can improve it, then it's done.
Okay, so it's based on the person.
Okay.
Then you step on the butterfly and change time.
Exactly, because that was another
and Homer
thing.
going, "What are donuts?"
Yeah, exactly. That was another
a
point.
donut?
Like if you change something in the past, wouldn't it affect the future?
Yeah,
and
but-
maybe not necessarily in a positive way.
Yeah, but for other people.
Well,
No, for
okay,
you, it's
other
perfect.
People, then I don't care.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I don't care about
it would
them,
think
but-
it would still affect you in some way.
Yeah,
You know, but if we could do that, and then all of a sudden, like I've hit the best part, we're going to continue on with the timeline. I would say a time in Vegas, winning a lot of money, then go back, and if I had the memories from the day, as every time I woke up, then I could remember what I played, what they played, how much to bet, and then I could have won more money. But really, like you,
Or you could go back in time and get the sports almanac and
Exactly.
give it the
Back
Biff
to the
Tannen.
Future?
Oh,
Yeah.
no, that's an entirely different podcast where we combine Groundhog Day and Back to the Future and then really go bonkers.
You know, I'd like to repeat last Sunday when the Mega Million was drawn or something like that.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Just so
Get
I could
the numbers.
Hey,
get the
I'm on a
numbers.
streak, by the way. I have won cash for life
$3?
like 3 weeks in a row, at least $2 a drawing. I won 6 yesterday, so I spent it, of course, on cash for life tickets.
It's time.
Yeah, it's moving. I'm just moving in. I'm moving through.
Yeah.
All right.
But then really, like, yeah, you would get bored.
You would get
reliving
bored.
the same day over and over. And if it's a special day, wouldn't that take away from the
It being
specialness
that
of it?
special?
It would be like, Christmas every day. You get bored with it.
That's
Yeah.
why
That's why it's so special, because it's, well, in theory,
That's why in my
Once a
version, I
year.
don't think I want to know that it's being
That
repeated.
being repeated.
I can just be happy.
Well, I've overthought this as well, and I had to go through it, and I thought, no, I don't want to do the time I met Galactus because my memory's too cloudy of that. And I don't want to
And
do
Chris
the
is on the floor.
Bye, Chris.
Bye, Christopher.
somebody call Genesee County,
And
that ball's going to land.
I don't
soon.
want to do the time I hung out with William Burroughs at the nudist camp and had a naked lunch because I was there all of you.
Oh, this is good.
I thought about
Terry,
it,
in case you couldn't figure it out, Rob is our pun master.
but I thought about it.
He thinks he's
and
punny.
Back in college, I had a group of friends. They were my version almost of the Beatles or King Arthur's Court. And I've had great friends since then. But, you never have that core of friends.
Yeah.
The same. We would meet in the camp. We just laugh our heads off.
Yeah.
It was great. We make fun of you.
Yeah, we returned fire too,
But,
Rob.
I mean, you know Andy LaPlaca, I think, and some of those guys.
Yeah.
But one of the big night for that was a bunch of them were in a theater production of 12th Night. And that was like our penultimate. Remember that?
I
And
was in it.
Yeah, we had the party afterwards.
Oh,
at
Jesus,
Andy's
yeah.
house. And that was like us, because things went south in some ways for some of us as life brings us. And I've never had that group of friends again. I mean, I still great friends, and it's like that group. And I've always been an outsider. I mean, people might not know from listening, I'm kind of weird.
Yeah,
so I
we
don't
couldn't
fit in
tell
a lot.
that.
Really?
But that was it. And I wouldn't want to do it maybe once a year just to go sit back and go, man, these were great times.
That would be cool. Yeah, to
And
kind of like
you
relive
could
that
be in
one
it.
day.
You could be in it.
I'm the reverse Flash, man. I'm Flashpoint. I'm gonna link everybody's Groundhog Day together.
But that would be
I'm not
once-
having one other than Austin St. John.
Yeah, okay.
But that
We'll see
would
what
be great.
happens.
Like once a year.
We'll see if you
go
have a say
back,
in
you
that.
know, and go, like the Stand By Me line. I never had friends like that. Damn it, do we ever? So that's about it.
That's amazing.
Okay, Christopher.
Amazing that I remember.
How are we
all
doing
those
on time,
years.
Billy? Are we out of time?
No,
out of
we're
time.
not out of
We're
time.
Oh,
Even if we have to go to
no.
45 minutes, we're not out of time.
We're
We're
never
out of
in fact,
time for
only
you,
at
Chris.
20 something.
Yeah, we're only at 20, so you got like 20 minutes to
Just go
expound.
back and
I don't
relive this
think
day
you
over
can.
and
Can you
plan
fill
on it.
20 minutes?
Or we could just loop this podcast over and over again.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it.
There you go. Just keep repeating
Yeah,
what
Ray,
we're
I'll
saying.
play you in a moment. I don't think I overthought it, but my line was kind
Really?
of along the line of Rob's.
Heaven
I had
help you.
Thank you. I had a couple of days that kind of always caught my attention, and I've always thought about. And one of them did have to deal with the Fisher Gang way back in the day. Rob and I have known each other for almost 30 years now. And Terry and I have known each other for almost 30 years now, and you're involved with a lot of my memories. And Tanya, we've been friends for 20, and Billy, your family now,
Yeah.
buddy. You
He's
know?
part of our tribe. We're keeping
I'm
him.
only on like a year and a half, but I feel like I've known you for a long, long
Yeah,
time. It's
you know,
cool.
it's that's the great thing about these conversations. We just talk about whatever comes to mind. So a lot of my days, because over the years I have several groups of friends. I've had my friends from St. John Fisher days. I've had my friends from my Aquinas days. I've had friends from my Brockport days, from working at Time Warner, from working at Paytech, from working for the city. I have these different groups of friends, and every so often I've been lucky enough to bring them all together and make one larger group of friends, And I think one of my favorite days that I would live over and over again, and there was a party that I threw when I was living on Hellendale. And I had my Fisher gang, my Brockport gang, and some work gangs and some Aquinas gang. They all came together at this house. I was living with two of my buddies at the time, and it was like just this one massive party. And there was all these people who were important to me. So it wasn't just that it was a party. It was that the fact that the people around me were all important to me. And I've fallen off with a lot of them over the years. Time splits people up and wanders in different directions. But if I could have that one day back, and like Rob said, just once in a while, maybe not a Groundhog Day effect where you go through that day over and over and over and over again, but once in a while you can sit back and you can send yourself back into that day and just live that day again, and how Mike almost blew his coworker up because he had kept the lid on the grill down too low and had the gas turned on, but he had the grill lid down for too long. So when he went to light it, fireball, and I remember this one girl just throwing herself back into the rose bushes. I'm like, I felt horrible, but she was fine. Nobody got hurt, but it's just one of those moments where you just kind of like laugh at Mike, and the interactions.
I don't knows.
Yep.
Lots of I don't knows.
I don't knows, which was a favorite drink of ours because my buddy Paul, his younger brother Steve, was our bartender. And Steve would say, well, what do you want to drink? And he'd say, I don't know. So he would immediately go back into the kitchen and start mixing whatever the hell came to mind.
Or he'd ask you what color.
And what color you wanted. Things like that. The silly things. And then just being able to see... See my...
He's kidding.
See my friend Brian again. Sorry.
It's all right. It's all right.
Ray, take over.
Ray, what do you got, Ray?
Yeah. Come on, Ray.
Groundhog
you've been
Day.
waiting in the wings thinking. You've had your extra thinking.
Tell us what your parameters are and what you do.
I would have to say New York Comic Con with my mom.
Okay. When did you go?
I think that was last year. Before I met Chris, I think.
Yeah.
Where me and him even got the chance to he knew of me. He knew that I was the weird kid of my mom's family. And
We're all weird kids.
Yeah. That's why we're here together.
But
you're a part of this tribe. We're weird kids.
Mom brought me in and she's like, before we go, you're gonna meet Chris, and I met Chris, and we went on our way. And New York Comic Con for me was I got to meet two of my childhood heroes in one day, and that was amazing. That being Stan Lee,
nice,
and Jason David Frank.
Oh, excellent! Yeah, I met Stan Lee the first time I went up to Toronto Fan Expo, and it was a thrill.
Those were just being able to say, even to this day, a year later, because New York Comic Con is right around the corner now. A year later, to be able to still say, I met Stan.
October 5th.
October 5th. I still get the emails for it.
Yeah. So you're not going to New York next weekend, right?
Nah, I actually just got the email last night asking me if I want to buy the Thursday tickets.
Yeah.
I can't afford them. But being able to still say that I met Stan Lee and
that is
Jason,
awesome.
And Jason David Frank is amazing because
this is the guy you grew up watching.
I grew up watching them.
Yeah.
I grew up reading Stan Lee's books because before I became a DC fan, my mom was trying to bounce me back and forth to see who I liked the best. So I had Marvel, I had DC, and a lot of the Marvel that I grew up reading was a lot of Spider-Man or Hulk. So I was like, this is amazing. I get to meet you. Yeah. So another one that comes to mind, I got a few, but I'll just do one more. But another one that comes to mind, I would have to say, is my high school graduation.
Nice.
Because
that's a good day. It's a good memory.
That's only a really good memory for me and my family because around those times, my senior year, so much happened. I actually contemplated about dropping out of high school.
Really?
Me and my mom we sat down and we thought, Because I wasn't going to class.
Mm-hmm.
I just stopped going to class. So
Why was that?
I wasn't enjoying myself. And to me,
High school's not necessarily all about enjoying yourself. I'm sorry to tell you.
it really is.
It's a necessary evil.
Tanya's a high school teacher. She knows these things.
But it's like all my friends around me are over here saying how much fun they're having in their classes and enjoying themselves. And it's like, I didn't have that. I would just go and I would just be.
It was a chore to you. It was something that was challenging. And so therefore, why would you want to continue if it's that difficult? I mean, going back and just piggyback on it, I think if I was to relive one day over and over again, I would say it's the day that my son graduated from high school because I didn't think
that
we
was
were going to
happen.
happen. So I totally get it. Because that is an accomplishment.
We actually talked about it. I was going to do the GED program.
Mm-hmm.
But, for some reason, when my mom brought it up, she said, we're just going to drop you out and you're going to do that. I fought to stay.
Mm-hmm.
And to this day, I am so happy that I fought to stay.
And then
because
gives you that sense of determination.
I wake up every morning. I go. On my way to the kitchen, because you look in because our kitchen in the living room is like this.
Right.
You look in the living room. There's my diploma sitting right next to my sister's.
Nice.
So it's like, I got that. I did that I did that with help, but I got it. I held it.
And you were proud of yourself, and you had that accomplishment. And I can speak from some personal experience. We've had a lot of students in the years that would like to say, oh, school's not for me. Let me just drop out and get my GED and things like that. They don't necessarily understand how much work that is to go back and get your GED because it's not a teacher teaching you anymore. I mean, it's a matter of you're going to go to the classes and here's the paperwork and this is what you have to do. And it's like they don't realize what a struggle that would be when you have someone that can directly teach you on a daily basis. So I'm glad that you're able to follow through on all that for
I also
you.
have to say a very huge thank you to the 3 teachers that I did have.
Go ahead. They're probably not listening, but go
ahead.
No.
I have them on Facebook. I have them on Facebook, though.
All right, so then
you're going to have to link them, tag
when you
them.
share this, when it gets broadcast next week, when you share it, you got to tag them so they can hear it. So you can hear. They can hear.
So thank them
message.
personally.
That would be my history teacher, Miss Kaiser, my 9th grade history teacher.
Right.
She was amazing. She's you, female you.
Really?
Yeah.
Anybody? I don't think women can be that tall. That's awesome. Okay, so female Miss hello, Miss Kaiser.
Mr. Martin.
Mr. Martin.
He was my computer teacher.
Okay.
And he was my age teaching me when I was like 14.
Mm-hmm.
And he showed me so many like bands. That was the time I was starting to get into bands and stuff. And he was one of those teachers who was very clear about what he wanted and how he wanted to teach.
Okay.
So if he said this is what he's teaching, this is what he's teaching.
Okay, and who else are you thanking?
Mr. Berry.
Mr. Berry taught
me in living environment my 9th grade year.
And what school was this?
Franklin.
At Franklin. All right. So Ms. Kaiser, Mr. Martin, and Mr. Berry at Franklin. And you're going to be hearing this, I hope, because Ray's going to tag you. You know, and my appreciation to you guys is that I'm going to make sure that they have weekend passes so they can come see you in action at the 2018 show because you're going to be helping us run it. So I want them to see what their student has done with his life in terms of this band of lunatics.
Hanging out with a bunch of nerds.
Or not
hanging
a
out
cloud.
with a bunch of nerds. So Ms. Kaiser, Mr. Martin, and Mr. Berry from Franklin, if you're interested, get a hold of your Cito over here. And
they actually don't know me by Cito, just Ray or Ramon. But now
Ray
they
or
do.
Ramon. All right. And my token of appreciation, they have weekend passes waiting for them so they can come. And I'm back. I'm sorry. That was weird. I didn't think that what I was going to say was going to catch me like that. That was weird.
It happens to me all the time.
But I was thinking of my buddy Brian Dixon, who passed away from complications of leukemia. I want to say almost 9 years ago now, 8-9 years ago now, and I still miss him like he left us last week. You know, it's one of those things. And when I'm thinking about it, I don't know when that's going to catch me or not. We actually dedicated the 2016 FC3, the very first one, to him. It's at the bottom of the credits page with a little blurb there. So, but so there I'm back. I'm fine. So I'm not always
Really?
Yeah, I'm
Well,
great.
you're back.
This
Fine is
fine is a stretch.
And I've picked the saddest FC3 podcast topic ever.
No,
it's a good topic.
It's cool because it's made
you
a
never-
little nostalgic, and
you never know what someone's going to bring up or
you know,
remember.
I also had a couple of other days, and the day. About 2 hours into the day, this nurse asked me, "Mr. Frank, would you like to hold your daughter for the first time?" You know, that was a hell of a day right there.
Do it right
You know,
there.
the day you become a parent is kind of a wild day. How are we doing on time, Billy?
We're at 30 minutes.
We're at 30 minutes.
30 minutes. We've
My
done
first
half an hour on
FC3
this.
day was
Your
a
first
good one.
FC3?
That's
You know,
how
I
I
have a
met
story
this
about
crazy
that,
band of
too.
lunatics that I
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
love. I adore
Flash.
you all.
Oh, okay.
Well, there's the day
You were a ticket holder at the first one in 2016.
Yes, I was.
remember that, and then I remember you
was.
talking about cinematography and whatnot. And I wanted to be able to keep in touch with you, and then I'm like,
And then
"Where'd
she
you
showed up
go?"
at a volunteer meeting.
Yep, she showed up at a random volunteer meeting, and I was like, "Oh
It
my
popped up on
god!"
Facebook, and I was like, "Oh, I would
Yeah.
do this."
Well, it's like speaking of the con, it brought something sort of related to this up many years ago back in when Colin Baker was the Doctor.
Right.
There was a little Doctor Who convention at WXXI, and I met him.
Mm-hmm.
He was very, very nice to me. And how many times in life do you have to come, decades later, Mr. Baker, when I was a shy kid, you were really nice to me.
Yeah.
And just thank you. Mm-hmm. And it was just really nice. And then I told him I bought his book, and he's like, "Good job."
I will always remember the moment at the 2016 show where I was up on the second floor and I hit the escalators and I'm coming down and the line was all in place and the whole
You're like, I did this.
the whole lobby was filled with people at 10 o'clock because they were all getting their tickets and coming into the first show, and it was just like, wow.
that moment of
That moment of, this is real. This is so cool. And, we felt a good swell of success. We all had a hand in that. It was not an I did this moment. This was definitely a we did this moment. And a lot of people put a lot of work into that moment, so it was cool.
One thing I would not want to relive is going back and forth to the airport 15 million times.
unless it was for Austin St. John.
Yeah, unless it was for
well,
she
yeah.
can
If
relive
you
picking
could-
Austin St.
Yeah,
John up a
Tommy,
couple
if
of times.
you take me to the airport, I'll show you my private jet, and we can
Whoa.
jet off to wherever. Hey,
Considering he's flying coach or
I
business
remember the
class.
first time I met you, Rob,
Yeah.
we don't know what he gets
Yeah.
up to.
in Biskupski's office,
Yep.
of all places.
Yep.
I remember that. I was in English. I was actually a communications major my freshman year of
I can't
of
see
college.
that.
I was communications. I was going to go journalism.
I really
wanted
can't
to follow
see
my
that.
buddy Mike DiGiorgio. I really did. I did that. And then my very first
I'm totally messing with
professor that I had a lot of different classes with at Fisher, he was working on his PhD in advertising and journalism. So all of my intro to communications, all of my intro to film, all my intro to stuff with this Mavromatis fella. No, it wasn't that. Mavromatis was somebody else. Anyway,
He was like,
I can't remember this guy. McGinnis, maybe?
yeah, McGinnis is communication.
Was McGinnis.
Yeah.
He was basically teaching intro to advertising and intro to film advertising and advertising. I'm like, I have no freaking give a damn about advertising, and he just ruined it for me. So I ended up becoming an
Mavro
English
story
major.
after this for you.
What's that?
We took my friend Rob and I took Mavromatis' psych class.
That's who it-
And
Mavromatis
one
was
day-
psych.
One day, Rob,
He was cool. I remember
one day,
him.
Rob goes up to him and he's talking to Rob, going, "Can you bring it in tomorrow? Bring it in a paper bag." And I'm like, going, "What are you talking about?" Rob worked at McDonald's. He collected the little figures.
But it sounded so illicit.
Can you bring it in a bag, please? Bring it. That's amazing. I remember the day that I met you, Terry. Summer Stock Theater at Aquinas. It was the summer after my freshman year of high school. I'd come back as an alumni, and here's this little redheaded teeny bopper bopping around the stage, and we became fast friends that summer.
Yes, we
I
did.
remember meeting Dolly. I remember meeting Zach recently. Billy, the first time we got
I
to
still
meet
think about
face-to-face
it. It's funny you say that. I was just thinking about that
when we had dinner at Knox.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and
That was a great
Susan
dinner.
and you and Tanya and Deanna. And that was fantastic.
Awkward green jeans.
Awkward green. Yes, Tony.
Inside joke?
I guess so. Yeah. No, don't bring it up.
I was the first time Chris met me. I was wearing green jeans of all things because
and I'd forgotten his name was Tony, so I kept calling him Mr. Green Jeans through the entire
Yeah.
filming.
So he was cosplaying
Yeah.
the Captain
Cat-
Kangaroo
Kangaroo,
show.
yeah.
It was green jeans and a black shirt, and it was we were taught. Actually, you could probably still see it in the commercial that we filmed because I happened to be wearing that same combo the day we filmed.
I remember
Was that the
first,
FC3 thing?
Yeah. I remember the first
one
day I
take?
met our producer,
one take.
Sherry, was at the Sterling Renaissance Festival. She was working there at one of the booths, and I was always getting my tarot cards read by this one particular woman who has since passed away, and we miss her dearly. We miss you, Karen.
Yes.
But Karen, in a very rare moment, actually, when she finished my reading, she grabbed me by the hand, pulled me out of her tent. Now, Karen is like maybe half my size. She makes a hobbit look tall, okay? She was this amazing
Tiny little
woman.
thing.
Yep. Terry met her on several occasions. And she dragged me right over to the booth where Sherry was working. And she said, Sherry, this is Chris. Chris, this is Sherry. You guys should get to know each other. You'll be friends. And then walked away. And that was that. And so I remember meeting everybody who's looking at me at the moment and looking back at them. And those were really good days. Every last one of them was a good day. So I'm glad I get to share those with all of you.
It was just Biskupski's birthday last week.
It was Biskupski's birthday. One of the grand generals, the history department at Fisher. And then is Bain still president at Fisher?
No, somebody else now.
Stepped down?
Yeah.
But before Donald Bain was president of St. John Fisher, he was one of the greatest history professors I think I've ever met. And he was the one who gave us the old aphorism, it's Friday, and no Friday is a bad Friday. Although today that when we air these on Wednesdays and we record them on Sundays, but I'm still going to remind everybody that on Friday, think to yourselves, no Friday's a bad Friday. All right, so we're going to wrap this one up. This has been a really interesting. I love the discussions we have at this table. Sometimes I really do. Sometimes we're laughing our butts off.
Today.
Yeah, sometimes we're laughing our butts off. Sometimes we're making each other think. Sometimes we're pissing each other off. But this is a great little family we've got here, and I'm happy always to share it with our listeners. So we're going to say hi to our buddy Danny in England.
Hello, Danny.
Hello, Danny. We're going to say hi to Zach's dad, Mr. Upsitnik. Good to see you. Good to hear from you again, sir.
Yep. Hey, Dad, I'll expect your text message probably tomorrow.
There you go. And
does he know what we look like now?
Yes, I sent him the
we
picture.
sent him pictures?
He's like, Tanya looks pretty much like I expected her to, but Chris, not even close.
Is that a good thing?
Is that a good thing?
Next time I speak with him, I'm going to get clarification on that one.
You're lying. You sent pictures of HR Puff and stuff. And
As long as you
That's
send
Will Chamberlain. What the hell?
My Earth 5 listens now, too.
Who's that?
My Earth 5.
Earth 5?
Yes.
Hi, Earth 5. Who is Earth 5?
He's my Earth 5 brother.
Oh, nice.
The brother from another Earth.
Another brother? Okay. Yeah, well, good to hear from all the unconventionals as well. My favorite young folks. I can call them young folks now because I'm so freaking old. Anyway,
so do my hipster music friends.
There you go. So for Robin, for Zach, for Dolly and Terry, for Tony and Ray, for Tanya and Billy, this has been Monkey Business for another year. Monkey Business, a product of the Mighty Monkey Corporation, bringing you the Flower City Comic-Con, June 9th and 10th of 2018 at the Floriano Rochester Riverside Convention Center. Look us up on Facebook, as always, if you haven't figured it out by now, FC3ROC.com off of Facebook. And if you're interested in sponsoring or advertising with us, you can send all of your questions to sponsors at FC3ROC.com. We will talk to y'all next week. Have a great one.